5 questions, and in each question I will talk about very simple things and about more complex one. And of course you can text any questions in the chat, and we will have time at the end of the meeting for questions. And I hope that we will be able to look at your website and determine some JavaScript issues. Or if you have any problems with JavaScript, please text and we will discuss it. If you don't have time to ask a question, or if you will have a question later, please text to Julia, and we will answer all your questions. Okay, let's move on to our first question. The first thing that I want to highlight is that actually I have not come across websites that do not use JavaScript at all. Such websites without JavaScript at all do not exist, or they are very rare. And if you have a static website, most likely that you are using some external JavaScript. That can be JavaScript file for analytics, maps, some tools for A/B or split testing, Google Optimize, and so on. And even these external JavaScript resources can impact on your SEO result, and of course can impact on your page speed, performance, core web vitals, rendering, and rendering budget as a result, and of course on user performance. And as you know, it is very common issue that some external resources may block the load of the main content of your website. If there are some issues with external JavaScript, Google cannot see all the information that you have on your website. And as you know, Google has a limit for the time it can spend on your website. And this time it is a part of the rendering budget. So if some external resources or JavaScripts are very slow or very large, they should be made asynchronous. This ensures that they do not block your main resources, because this is crucial for the ranking and indexing to allow Google see and process your content without any problems and without any blocking external resources. And even if you have a single page application, if you use this technology on your website, you can make single page application website Google bot and other bot friendly. Let's move on. And I'm very sorry. It seems that I'm a little bit person with coronavirus. So this webinar may be a little bit boring, but feel free to ask questions. And if information is very obvious or very simple, let me know in chat, and I'll try to explain more interesting or more useful things you want to know about JavaScript, and maybe more practical and for your websites. And if you want to explore your website, please let me know in comments, okay? But I guess that this information, boring information, will be useful for you. Okay. I know that a lot of us come across the idea that SEO for JavaScript website requires special efforts. And you know that JavaScript is very bad for SEO, and maybe you heard that JavaScript websites has worst result in SERP, but in my opinion, it's not the case at all. Because in general, from my experience, JavaScript websites can perform very well and bring a lot of traffic. Later, I'll share some information and some data about performance of JavaScript website. And you know that it is possible to make a JavaScript website be convenient equally for bots and for users. But yes, we need to check everything and work carefully on some JavaScript inspection. And if you want to check your JavaScript website, I recommend to start with these 3 points. We need to inspect how Google views your raw code, then how Googlebot renders your website, and of course, we should check the difference between this one raw code and the code that Google received after rendering of JavaScript and some resources. And if there are any issues and any problems in this process, it can result in problems. For example, if you use no index, no follow in your raw code, and if after processing of JavaScript, your website receive index follow, Google will select more restrictive rule, and your pages, your website will be de-indexed. I had few cases in my practice that we used dynamic rendering, and unfortunately, dynamic rendering was broken, and Googlebot see raw code with no index, and during 3 hours, we lost all our positions. We had website with 6 million of pages in Google SERP, and during the 3 hours after this bug, we lost almost the third part of our traffic and almost third part of our indexed page were dropped out from the Google index. So pay attention, and if you have a large website, you can set up some alerts in JetOctopus, and you can have some automatic checks to be sure that your indexation rule in raw code and in rendered code are the same. And of course, pay attention to other SEO important data. Okay. I saw the question. I'll answer your questions after the first point of our webinar. Okay, very nice question. But let's move on. It is very common, and you know this schema from Google. But I'd like to show this schema again because it's like a little reminder of why it's crucial to check both the raw code of your website and the code after the rendering of the page. At this stage, Google analyzes your raw code, and I've mentioned it before. If you use no index, no follow, or some templates for title, or any prohibitive rules for Google, Google won't proceed to the second stage, and Google will not render your page to see the full content. However, if you don't have any prohibitions here, Google will move to the second stage to index your content. You can find the basic information here. I know that we have some updated in this documentation, so it would be nice to check because Googlers added some new information. Okay, so let's move on. And it's about data from one of the biggest websites with JavaScript. I want to confirm that rendering client side on the client side take more time, and Google needs more time to process all your pages and all your JavaScript. It is the data for 2 months before and after we added dynamic rendering. You see the difference in crawl budget in pages metric. It's from JetOctopus log section. It's because we added some rules to robots text, and we blocked some pages from scanning by Google. And as you can see, without server-side rendering and without dynamic rendering, Google recrawled our pages twice a month in average. But after we added dynamic rendering, that page refresh rate became much more attractive and much more interesting for us. And of course, we noticed the great results because pages that Google crawled but not indexed, and pages that Google discovered but not crawled, Google processed all these pages very quickly, and we received a lot of pages in Google SERP. It was nice, but this effect was very intensive during first 2 months after we added dynamic rendering. We used our web servers for dynamic rendering, but after 2 months, we returned to the same page refresh rate. It was very interesting, just that data for information. Okay, and now I would like to share some tools. I guess that you know how to see raw code and rendered code and the difference. But I'd like to share it again. Okay. About tools, because we have question how to check JavaScript website. We can use some tools like Chrome DevTools, Postman, it's the best one, JetOctopus, I hope you like JetOctopus and mobile-friendly test or UL inspection tool in Google Search Console. But in mobile-friendly test or UL inspection tool, you can inspect only the rendered code. And I'm sure that you know that even response code in mobile-friendly test or UL inspection tool in Google Search Console is the response code of the last page in the redirects chain. I mean, if you try to check some page with redirect, in the results, you will see the final location and its response code. But I'd like to recommend to use this mobile-friendly test and inspection tool to check some JavaScript errors and JavaScript files that Google couldn't load, because this is very important to monitor these errors, because you know that if some files are unable to load by Google, and if these files have useful content or images and these JavaScripts are unavailable, you can lose your ranking and positions in SERP. Please text me in the chat if it is necessary to share some tips from the tools. Okay, let's start. And if this part is not interesting, let me know, please. Okay, let's use incognito. Can you see my browser?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's open our DevTools. Okay, it would be nice to use some Googlebot user agent, especially for this website that use dynamic rendering. You know that if you use dynamic rendering, it means that your web server returned rendered information only for bots, by the way. So it's crucial to set up a Googlebot user agent to find the difference between version for Google and for regular clients. I'll send the link in the chat. I guess you know about this link where you can find some Googlebot user agents. And let's check this link. Here you can see some letters. It's from version. So we can copy this and replace these letters, these characters with from version. I'd like to highlight that 1.17.0 and so on from version is one of the most frequently used version of Chrome by Google, and of course version 2.1 I'd recommend to check how Googlebot with these two Chrome versions can render and can see your website, because in some cases there could be difference. So the best option is to identify the relevant user agent for your website, and to use during your check the most relevant Googlebot user agent that that information you can find in JetOctopus. Let me show. Just a second. Let Here we are. So to make the best inspection you can, please research the main versions of Google bots that visit your website. You see, let's use this one. Click. You should go to let's back to your log section, bot details, and then to the Google bot versions. Let's click. And here is a column user agent string. It's our home version. Let's copy it. And let's add it in network condition. Don't forget about activating this checkbox disable cache, because you know that Googlebot don't use cache, and it is very important thing. Let's enter our custom and let's check. Let's check some website. Let's start from this one. It is very common situation. If you use Cloudflare or other website protection, and if you try to check your website and to see what Googlebot can understand from your website, you can find this information. This happens because you are using a Googlebot user agent, but you don't pass IP verification or reverse DNS lookup. It is protection against DDoS attacks, and when someone wants to emulate Googlebot, Cloudflare, or other system block this user agent. So it is more difficult to inspect websites with Cloudflare. So if you want to check, you can schedule meeting with DevOps or add your IP to the whitelist in Cloudflare or in the protection system that you use. Let's check the other option. Let's check the Amazon. Okay, let's try another one. By the way, pay attention that you don't use this captcha or this code for Google, because I saw a few websites that have this captcha for Google, and Google cached this information, of course, and Google couldn't have access to titles, description, and the main content, by the way. Okay, let's check another one. Okay. Oh, everything is so inconvenient. It was because we used the user agent for mobile, and we changed the mod for smartphone. Now it is better. And let's check the version for users. Here we are. you see that version for Google and for bot are a little bit different. One of the possible reasons is cache, or they use dynamic rendering. And pay attention that Amazon have a great compression for images, and they compresses images very efficiently. So Amazon's mobile pages are really, really fast. And the general load time is very important metric, and that can impact on your ranking. So we start to check. Here we can see the code that Google render after the rendering of your JavaScript, and how to see raw code that Googlebot receive. We have set it up our user agent, and now we should disable JavaScript. Let's launch the page. Oh, beautiful cats. And the content is really different. We can see only the main images, some links, offers, deals, and of course, here we can find header and footer. And let's check. Let's check again. Just a second. And if we compare this one and this one, you can see that list of resources is really different. And here we can find a lot of JavaScript files, a lot of style sheets, images, and so on. And here in general, we can see only few resources. So you know that Google should process all these resources, all this JavaScript, and execute information from this script. Let me a second, I check on the chat. Okay. Okay. Let me finish the first question, and I'll try to answer all your questions. Okay. When we check the website, the raw code of the website, we should check main SEO elements. HTML length, great. Let's check some titles. Meta name, great. It is very interesting. Meta description, title, canonical, great. We can be sure that the main SEO information is present in our raw code. It is the basic rules, and of course, I would recommend to add to your raw code structured data. Here we can see some open graph, but unfortunately, I don't see, open graph, but unfortunately, there are no organization, structured data, and breadcrumb list. If you have the opportunity to add structured data to your server-side rendering or to your dynamic rendering, it would have really great results and it would have a great impact to your CTR, because Google will change the snippet in SERP fastly. It is very important, for example, for e-com websites, because you know, if you use product structured data, on listings or offers, we should add price. And if you don't have this structured data product on the server-side rendering, the prices in snippet can be renewed not very often. And we had a lot of cases when some users Googled, for example, buy this bicycle, and in the Google snippet, a user set the old price because we don't have product structure data on the in this row of code. And that's why I'll recommend, in some cases, we have a lot of problems with low because we show users non-actual information. So that's why I recommend to add structured data to your row of code, not only Open Graph, but also product, organization, and all other important structured data that can impact on your snippet. And yes, structured data should be added in the head element. Okay. Postman. Let's go back to the presentation. Postman, it's my favorite tool. Okay, it seems that I have problems with timing because I'm showing very simple information. So let's keep Postman. You can find it on the official website, and it is very convenient because you can set up user agents and you can see the row of code, you can see this visualization of row of code, and in Postman you can find console to track all the statuses and so on. I would like recommending to try using Postman. Okay, and the last one, JetOctopus. I'd like to show how to check and how to compare your raw code and rendered code in JetOctopus. I guess you know, but Julia said to show it again. Let's go to the tools, and here you can find compare JavaScript and non-JavaScript version. Here you can check any URL you want. Let's try this Amazon.com. We can use desktop browser, mobile, Googlebot, but pay attention if you use Cloudflare and if you didn't add JetOctopus to whitelist, it wouldn't be possible to use Googlebot user agents. Let's try this mobile browser. Here we are. It seems that it is page with CAPTCHA. Let's try another one. Oh, it's a better one. Okay. Here we can find non-JavaScript version and the main SEO important elements. And here is the information after rendering of JS. By the way, if you will try to open page, it would be the same that Google will cache. Because you know that in order to save resources, Google always caches non-JS version of the website. And so you can use Google's cache to analyze and to find problems with your JavaScript website. Let me show just a second A few days ago, I found very interesting website without JavaScript and Google cached broken pages because of broken JavaScript files. Let's check. It would be interesting to research. Okay. I found it. Here we are. It is a website. Everything is okay. Everything is nice. Now let's check how Google cached it. It is text in Ukrainian. It means that we can find this page. Page is not found, this information. So the reason is the broken JavaScript files. So I would like to recommend to check Google Cache, or you can use JetOctopus to research what information Google bot see. Because if we will try to check this website with Chrome DevTools, we will not be able to find this issue, this broken page. That's why use this option. It is a really great option to check how Google can cache your website and how Google can extract some information. Okay, what we can find here that everything is okay with canonical, meta indexable, meta robots index follow, it's okay, meta follow, it's okay, and page size looks like that Amazon asked about CAPTCHA. That's why we couldn't compare the data. But if you will have some problems, JetOctopus will highlight the difference. You see that title is different. Meta description is okay, but here meta description is empty. And pay attention to body change percent. And pay attention to the internal and external links. It is very important. Okay, let's check the Medium website. I guess that the difference will be more noticeable. Oh, it is much more interesting to research. Okay, the most noticeable difference is load time. As you see, 5 seconds to finish all JavaScript loading is not very good indicator. And we can see that page size was changed and it is okay. I'll recommend to research page size that Googlebot receive when visiting your website. I mean that it is nice to visit section in logs, raw logs, and we can check size. I know that if you use Cloudflare, this column will not be able for you, or you will see 0. But if you integrate logs without Cloudflare or with Nginx or using Amazon Basket, you can use this data to find the size the crucial size. I mean, if you will check the website and you will find very small page size, it could be the problem, and you should understand why this page size is less than Google view, or in the opposite. If you see that page size is, for example, 100 kilobytes, and you see in logs that Google load only 2 kilobytes, it could be the problem. A lot of websites have problems with widescreen. It can cause the soft 404 and so on. So pay attention to page size when you check JavaScript website, and page and size of the and bytes, kilobytes that Googlebot load when visit your website. It is very important. Let's check. And internal and external links. I'd like to show Amazon again. Just a second. Just a second. In this case, we can check rendered code. And we can inspect here. We can see only one class and label all. But just a second. But if we click, we will find some links to categories. Pay attention that you should add all this link in your HTML code without any clicking. I mean that Googlebot couldn't click on buttons and so on. So add this even hidden links in your HTML code and in your DOM tree. It is very important. Let's go back. And the last useful data, you can find it in JetOctopus. It's about JavaScript resources. You know that we can find this information here, and but it is not very good to explore information. That's why here you can find some very convenient table with all resources, status codes, load time, and size. What to pay attention to? The first, the response code of each resource. If you will find some non-205 or 404 and so on, it can cause the decreasing in performance. And of course, for example, if some fonts files are unavailable, Google couldn't render your website correctly, and you can face with such problems like page is non-usable on mobile devices and so on. So check response codes of each resource. Images, fonts, style shifts, JavaScript files, and so on. All these requests are very important. The next one is load time, because we have discussed render budget that Google have time and for each page and for your website in general. And if these resources are very slowly, Google will stop loading them and we'll go to the next page or to the next website. And of course, the size, you know that it is very large JavaScript for Google, and it can be the reason of some JavaScript errors, and it can impact on your crawl budget. Okay, and here you can find all JavaScript console errors. Let's check mobile-friendly test to compare. Mobile-friendly test. Let's check. JetOctopus tool is much more faster than mobile-friendly test. Okay, view tested page. Here you can find rendered code, screenshot. You know that Google show only the part of the screenshot, so not be afraid if you will not find all the page. It is okay. And let's click more info and JavaScript console messages. The same information you can find here. So pay attention to it because in some cases, Google couldn't be able to find videos, images, and other type of the content of your website. And page resources. Here you can find a lot of JavaScript website, and pay attention to the internal resources that couldn't be loaded by Google. Redirection error. We understand the reason of this error. And here we can find very often other error without any explanation. Let's check another website. If you, but we have no time. Okay, if you see here, resource couldn't be loaded because of other error. It can be because of two reasons. The first one is the size of this resource. If some JavaScript files, images, fonts, style sheets, and so on are very large, Google can stop load them because of saving its information. And the second reason is connected with the load time, response time of each resource. We can see this information. If the response time is very slowly, Google also can interrupt the connection without loading all these resources, even if these resources are very important and even these resources contain the main SEO information. So if you see some problems here, please try to optimize the general size and the general load time, response time for your website in general. Oh, unfortunately, we have only 5 minutes. Okay, I'll try to show this slide, and we will finish after this slide, and I'll try to answer all your questions. Okay, the common problems with JavaScript and how to solve them. Unfortunately, it is necessary to schedule a lot of meetings with developers and to investigate all problems with JavaScript, because it is not possible to resolve problems with JS without developers. So if you find some problems like slow JavaScript resources, 404 files, and so on, you can contact with your developers and ask to fix this issue and to set up the critical priority. Let's discuss in a few words each of these problems. Slow JavaScript resources. In this point, I mean the slow execution of JavaScript resources. Let's go back to our from DevTools. And here you can filter resources this time. And here you can find slow resources. As we can see, Amazon has a lot of very slow images. And Google, I'm sure, don't want to wait 5 seconds. It is more than 2 seconds, much more, to load all these images and all these JavaScript resources. So if you see more than 2 seconds here, it is the reason to ask your developers and to try optimize this time. This time, of course, this time depends on your personal device settings and so on. And you can face this situation when developer said, oh, I have checked and I see that this image has time 1 second. To avoid such situation, I prefer to run a JavaScript crawl with JetOctopus, for example, and to provide common information about the average load time of the domain with these resources. Just a second, I'll share. Load time. It is URLs, and here is domains. And general information, average information isn't so personable. So you can use this information about average size, about max load time to show the importance of your task and importance of this issue. This max load time is almost 10 seconds, and you know that 10 seconds mean that client's browser will interrupt the connection because of timeout. So I would like to recommend use general data to prioritize issues with time and, of course, with size. You can filter and find the most heavy resources. Let's filter JavaScript. It's okay. Amazon optimized all JavaScripts. Let's go back. The size of each script and resource, it is also very important. We have discussed it. JS page loading time. It is very important metric primarily for users. It means that the execution of all scripts has already finished, and the user can start work with the page. User can click on page, add products to the cart, and so on. I know that you know a lot of metrics from the Core Web Vitals, including first byte, first paint, and first contentful paint. All these metrics are the part of general JS page loading time. So you can monitor this loading time using JetOctopus, or you can use some Crocs data from the real users with the real users data to understand the impact on the real users. Load time you can find here, and on this website everything is okay from my point of view with the load time. Page loaded less than 2 seconds, it's okay. In general, JavaScript websites have problems with Core Web Vitals metrics. It's a normal situation. By the way, check your interaction to next paint, because you know that Google announced that in March they will change Core Web Vitals metrics, and they will start use interaction to next paint as the main metric. And they know that a lot of websites have problem with this metric. So if you see that this number is very large, you should try to optimize. For example, your developers can use some containers, lazy loading, preloading for important resources, and so on. And of course, you should clear the unnecessary JavaScript and other resources. Because, for example, you can have very large images in header and in footer. It means that on each page of your website, you will have 5 or 6 very large images, and these images will have impact on the JS page loading time. So pay special attention, header and footer. Just a second, I'll show a useful tip. Where is our header? Let's find. You can find any element you want to explore, for example, header, footer. Okay, I guess it is footer. You can copy this element and you can paste it here. Click, edit as HTML. Here we are. And using this tip, you will check the resources, links, images, and so on in your header and in your footer. And inspect header, footer, and remove all large, slow, and other unnecessary elements. In this case, everything is okay with Amazon footer. But in some cases, there could be very large images and so on. Images, icons. So let's check. Let's go back. Non-found scripts and non-toolable scripts. You can also find this information from their tools, and you can filter non-toolable resources. Please pay attention and please check, because I even saw a JavaScript files with need authorization or need authentication response code. and Google simply couldn't not access the images. Pay attention. It is okay if you will find not modified response code. It is good idea to use not modified 304 response code to impact on your render and crawl budget. But there couldn't be any resources with 404 redirections and so on. Okay, and the last one, JavaScript resources blocked by robots.txt. Unfortunately, Chrome DevTools couldn't show this information, but you can find this information in JetOctopus. Let me show. Let me show. You can go to the JavaScript request and use this data table. In general, client browsers usually load all resources because they don't pay attention to the robots.txt file. But Googlebot pay attention to the robots.txt. And for example, if you have some problems here, I mean, if you use robots.txt with some prohibited rules, for example, disallow, for example, disallow trailing slash dot JS or disallow dot JSON and so on, Google will not be able to use these resources. And if you will try to understand the reason why your page is not rendered by Google as you can see in your browser, the reason could be in the blocked by robots.txt file. And pay attention that a lot of websites, let's check Amazon, use a lot of internal and external domains for images, JavaScript, assets, fonts, and so on. So pay attention to the robots.txt file of each of these domain where your technical resources allocated. And please set up robots.txt for each technical and internal domain. Different domain, different robots.txt file. And if you will find that some JavaScript files are blocked by robots.txt, please try to understand what information are processing after the rendering of this JavaScript file. It is acceptable when some JavaScripts are blocked by robots.txt file, but pay attention that in this list, there are only unuseful and unnecessary for Googlebot resources. Okay, last 2 points. JavaScript redirects. A lot of websites use redirection when only link URL in browser bar is changed, but please pay attention that Google mentioned that Googlebot can process JavaScript redirects, but in the Google's documentation, they mentioned that when processing JavaScript redirects, Googlebot can have a lot of errors. So pay attention that you should use redirects with a changing of response code. Here we are. Okay, it's not a good it's not a good example because for the home page, it is not important to if there is a trailing slash or not. Let's check this one. But it is important to have to set up redirects from the URLs with trailing slash or without to the another one. Let's check. Okay. Amazon don't have any redirects. You see that this URL returned awk response code and URL in browser bar wasn't changed. Maybe this one. Maybe this one. Unfortunately. So if you would like to set up some redirects using JavaScript, please set up server redirects with changing response code. That's all for today. Let's move on to your question. Okay. Okay. Let's start. Let's start from your questions. I always suggest my clients to use server-side rendering. Some devs preferred client-side since they claim the real-time page speed is faster due to strong processors on user devices. And I totally agree with both of you because from the point of SEO, it is better to use server-side rendering because in this way we can save resources of Google, and Google will have more time and more web server resources to crawl our website. But for users, it is much more better to use client-side rendering. So, but if you use server-side rendering for users also, please pay attention that it is not necessary to add all information to the server-side rendering. It is okay if your server-side rendering version is different with client-side rendering. So the compromise is to exclude some resources from server-side rendering and they could be processed on the client side. The next question is about WordPress. Unfortunately, I'm not a specialist and I don't know nothing about Elementor and Astra, but in our team we have the SEO expert who is really pro with WordPress, and I'll note this question, and we will send the answer to you, William. Thank you for your question. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Do you have benchmarks for too large JavaScript files in megabytes? Like when do you start to optimize JavaScript? It depends on the general size of the page, and it depends on how Googlebot process these JavaScript web files. It would be nice if you will add information from logs about visiting your JavaScript resources. And if you will notice that Googlebot can load and Googlebot can process JavaScript with 1 MB, it will be okay for your website. But for example, if you have a lot of JavaScript, Google Tag Manager, some Google Optimize, and other tools, a lot of JavaScript on external resources, a lot of images, you should start optimizing the size of JavaScript website earlier. So in general, there are not such size of JavaScript website, JavaScript resource that is bad. It depends on different metrics. The second question was about JavaScript and crawling and rendering. In real life scenario, I have seen that Google is crawling and rendering JavaScript perfectly fine. So unless pages are not indexed, isn't it a bit overkill, over optimizing to optimize JS? I mentioned that I worked with website that used only client-side rendering, and this website have a good result, but you should pay attention that Google render your website correctly. You should pay attention how often Google discover your pages and how often Google index your pages. And if you noticed a long queue for indexing or for rendering, discovering in Google Search Console, you can try to use rendering. But if you don't have any problems, it is not necessary to optimize JavaScript and to add dynamic or server-side rendering. Unfortunately, I don't know the solution for all websites. We should analyze data, we should analyze rendering, crawling, logs, we should analyze scanning, errors, and so on. And only based on this data, you can find the best solution for you. To tell the truth, by the way, a lot of websites have problems with JavaScript, a lot of websites. And I have never saw website without any issues with JavaScript. So you can just fix it without any rush, I'd like to say. Okay. And the next question is about crawling budget. Just a second. Do you agree that under 1 million URLs, this does not matter a lot, and for websites with lower than 200,000 URLs, it's nearly irrelevant? Do you agree, or would you like to correct this? what is your experience? Actually, at the current project I'm involved in, we had 300,000 URLs, and we use a single page application for our website. And we noticed that JavaScript optimization has a great results for us. And after we add we fix some JavaScript, remove blocked and broken JavaScript, we received a lot of traffic. So again, it depends on the general state of your website and on the general SEO optimization. I mean, if you have a JavaScript website on the client side and there are set up all meta robots, canonicals, redirections, and so on, this website can perform very well. And if you have a very large website with errors, even JavaScript optimization couldn't fix all your problems in Google. The next question is about dynamic rendering. Okay, a few words about dynamic rendering. At this moment, dynamic rendering is a very good solution, and a lot of websites are using dynamic rendering for years, and it works. But if you use paid ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, please don't exclude AdsBot and other AdsBot, not only Google, from dynamic rendering, because these paid bots also want to save their resources. And if you will use dynamic rendering only for Google, it can cause that prices in paid ads and in organic results could be different, and your clients can leave a lot of negative reviews. So you can use dynamic rendering, but don't forget about other bots, not only Google search bot, but pay attention to other bots that are involved in receiving traffic. Question, should structured data be added in the head? Yes, they should be added in the head element. Are there no downsides such as longer loading for main content if structured data is in the head? Actually, structured data don't have so huge impact on the page loading. Let's check Amazon head. Let's check, and you can see that here you can find a lot of links, style sheets, fonts, and so on. I'm sure that not structured data, but all other resources can have negative impact on your page load time. It seems that we have only 2 questions. Okay, just a second. I've lost our chat. Mm. Okay, it was the last question. Thank you for your time. Sorry for this boring information. Uh, Unfortunately, we don't have time to discuss client and dynamic and server-side rendering. So I would like to ask you, send questions to Julia, and we will send mail with answers to all the participants. Mm, I would be happy to help you with your JavaScript websites. And if you have any problems, you can ask us, and we will try to help to resolve these issues. Thank you for your time.